Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Chapter 3 of my Druid Archer character concept Let's Play featuring our Bosmer buddy, Araelas, and his best friend, Bjorn. Hi, Bjorn. How's it going, friend? So, as you can see, Araelas has been quite the busy Bosmer in between chapters, just like last time. So let's get right into it, shall we? We're going to begin at the end, and that's the breakdown that Araelas experienced over here in the Windward Ruins after he finally killed the Guardian Skeever that he was sent to kill by Froki in order to obtain Kind's token. And that breakdown was the culmination of several things. Firstly, I wouldn't say he was experiencing crippling depression from the rejection by the Spriggan, the aspect of the forest in Autumnshade Clearing, back in the Rift, in the first chapter. But it was still weighing on him, and it had been for a long time. He also was experiencing mounting exposure from the cold in Windhelm, and all the way through sort of the Morthal area up through the tundra up here into Dawnstar. Excuse me, I think I'm coming down with a little bit of a cold, so you might have to deal with my throat doing funny things to my voice. I apologize for that. But yeah, mounting exposure kind of is causing some severe physical fatigue in him. Not to mention the lack of sleep that he had gotten the last few nights, dealing with the butcher late at night, and then trying to fall asleep in the wee hours of the morning, only to be awoken again in the abandoned shack by Astrid with her sadistic choice that she presented. Also, there was the snowballing guilt from, both Grelod and the three victims in the abandoned shack. And I would say that was also a culmination of all these things. He was in sort of a claustrophobic frenzy, having to deal with both the walls of Windhelm for so long, and sort of its stifling sorrow in the air there. And sort of emotional coldness there as well. And then being trapped in that tiny abandoned shack with all the blood and everything, and being forced to kind of murder his way out of it. That took quite a toll on him mentally, emotionally, and indirectly physically. So all this stuff kind of was weighing on him very heavily to the point where he was going to collapse anyway at some point, probably. But then when he killed the Guardian Skeever, there was a sort of warmth and a love that came from Kine that washed over him as he kind of absorbed that power. And all that guilt and all of that depression and just crippling sadness had kind of boiled over at that point as he became more acutely aware of it. And he collapsed. He would have frozen to death, honestly, had it not been for that warmth from Kine. And also, if it hadn't been for his best friend here, Bjorn. Bjorn saved Araelas' life. If you remember, Araelas was face down in a snowbank right outside of the Windward Ruins area over here. And we'll visit that area again this episode, probably at the end. That's where we've taken camp, so that's where we'll end up. So Bjorn stood watch over him for a little bit until he realized that Araelas was not waking up. Then kind of Bjorn nudged his way underneath Araelas and sort of draped Araelas' limp body over his shoulders and walked him into Dawnstar. later on, the folks at Dawnstar, he talked to some of the guards, and the guards said that normally when they see a large bear like this approaching the city, they would have taken him out instantly with arrows. But Bjorn knew this. Smart little bear Bjorn is. He approached the city and the guards very, very low to the ground and whimpering the entire time. He was basically crawling on his belly and whimpering, which the submissive stance sort of allowed him to get close enough for the guards to see that he was carrying a limp body on his back. So this kind of solidifies Bjorn and Araelas' relationship. And honestly, I'm starting to grow attached to the big fur ball myself, personally. And I think a lot of that has to do with Jackson's renamer. He's not just Araelas' cave bear companion anymore. He is Bjorn. It's a simple change. All it is just a label. Instead of being labeled one thing, now he's got a name. But even that just little bit goes a long way toward establishing a sort of a personification of these images that we see on the screen. So I highly recommend doing something like that in your next playthrough if you're trying to get more of a deeper role play out of it. So there's that. And also, I think what we're going to go ahead and do as and I've been thinking about this, I've been considering it. I think we're going to go ahead and set our affinity to bears. One with nature. Araelas's connection with... We'll go allied on that one. Araelas's connection with Bjorn has led him to... and we're going to go ahead and quick save that so we can get the... get that in the save so we don't have to remember to do that again. Araelas' connection with Bjorn has sort of educated him a little bit on how to communicate with bears, sort of like non-verbally. So now, just like the wolves and the Spriggans, bears will not attack us. So I think that's a cool little thing to add, a nice little wrinkle to add into the game at this point as a new chapter and sort of an unlocking of more of Araelas' druidic abilities. Okay, what next? Okay, so also let's continue here. Araelas has also been doing bounties between Dawnstar and Morthal. These are both pretty small areas in the grand scheme of holds in Skyrim. So there were only a few bounties to take in each place. So we went ahead and did them all. They were mostly giants. So Araelas has kind of built a reputation in these areas and kind of earned the nickname Giant Slayer. So that the people here are super impressed. Nobody's been able to take out these giants that have been sort of encroaching on the cities and endangering the citizens until Araelas has come in and sort of single-handedly wiped out the giant problem around here. On our travels, though, we did encounter Miko. And if you remember, it doesn't look like Miko's shack is marked on the map. Oh yeah, it's all the way over here. As many of you remember, Miko is a stray dog. His owner died and he was left alone over here in this shack. So Araelas picked him up. And Miko is just a little too domesticated to kind of follow along with Araelas. But we did bring him on. Araelas is not going to let an innocent creature like that suffer. He's not that darkened yet. Oh shush! You be nice to him. So we came. So Miko was following us. He came back. Oh jeez. You guys are really rude to this poor little animal here, aren't you? So we brought him back to the what's this inn called here in Dawnstar? Wind Peak Inn, where Karita here took a shine to him. And if you listen to the dialogue between Karita and the innkeeper here, what's his name? Thoring, which happens to be her dad. It turns out that Karita's mother had recently passed away, most likely. So she's been lonely. Her dad's not taking it too well, and she doesn't really have anybody to talk to about missing her mother. So she's been very lonely. She took an immediate shine to Miko. Miko has been attached to her since, so we figured that this would be a good place to leave him. Karita will take good care of him, being the daughter of the innkeeper here in Dawnstar. It seems like everybody but Karita does not really appreciate his presence here, but I think he'll grow on him, just as Bjorn has grown on us. What else happened here? Yeah, we got the bounties, the Giant Slayer. So we also made some skill progression. I think we ended up at like 27 or 28 or something like that at the end of Chapter 2. We have leveled up a few times, and I have taken... Oh geez, I don't know what I took. I think I took some restoration perks here while waiting for our archery skill, which has grown significantly to 82, to grow to a point where we can start taking higher level perks here. We took Hailstorm, which allows us to shoot arrows at a faster rate in a stacking manner as we go. So in combat with our Valenwood war bow, which already has a very short draw on it, we get faster and faster each time we fully draw and fire our bow in combat. So that really helps a lot with our damage output overall. It also unlocked trick arrows, which I've been hoarding all these salts for, these fire, frost, and void salts for, which will be great to add to our arsenal and add a lot of fun diversity into our gameplay, which I'm looking forward to getting into in the next level here. We also have this Hawkeye power, which I may get into. The problem with this is you have to hold focus on an enemy for several seconds in order to get any benefit out of it. This seems more like a sniper power to me, so I might avoid that, or I might take it once we get to a point where we can actually use it, or we get to a point where we fill up all the main perks that we were looking for and are just looking for stuff after we keep leveling. Light armor, I don't know if this was new, but no, I don't think this was. I think we took this in the last chapter. Just add some faster stamina regeneration at the beginning of combat. And finally, we took the expert smithing perk for our new armor. And our new armor is the hunter armor from the immersive armors pack, and I'm also using the Einherjar or Einherjar Brigandine Dark Hood, which is the light set for that, or for the light helmet for that set. I found that this was the item that went best with the rest of the outfit that I had an ability to craft anyway at the time. So that is Araelas' new look. As you can see, it is much warmer. It covers him up a lot better. So he's kind of over his self-loathing phase, I think. After being exposed to Kyne's warmth, I think he's making... Oh my goodness. She is lucky she is the only bard in Dawnstar. He's kind of over feeling sorry for himself. After Kyne's love washed over him, he felt the warmth. He kind of dropped his brooding phase, I think, and he's taking a turn toward the light, and more toward a druidic nature of things. I like to think that the whole incident in the abandoned shack with Astrid was kind of, it might be at least a temporary rock bottom. The Harrier wants us to kill Miko. That is kind of awful. We're not going to do that. So at least for now, I think he's hit rock bottom. He's going to start making a turn for the better from now on. But as we know, the Dark Brotherhood quests are now open to us. Once we get down to Falkreath, if we decide to take the story that way, we can. Araelas still has a strong sense of being a hunter and chasing targets. He's just not in a dark a place as he was before. Okay. Oh, and I've also oh, she is obnoxious, isn't she? Hey, watch it. So I've also unlocked the Adept level spells for Araelas. And let's see what those are. For both Alteration and Restoration. So that gave us Iron Flesh, which we are now, we've hooked up to Okado's Recital, so that will give us 80 points of armor, as opposed to the 40 that we were, or the 60 that we were getting from Stone Flesh before. It was 60 before, now it is 80, which is a nice little boost. So we have a good bit of survivability that we didn't have before. We're also using this Undermine spell, so every time somebody tries to swing a melee weapon at us after we hit them with this, they stagger, which is nice for melee attackers trying to chase us around. It takes forever to cast, though. I've been playing with it a little bit, and I don't know just how useful it is, because it does take so long to cast. You kind of have to kick off a fight with it from a sneak position, from an undetected position. Spell Twine we also did, but we'll go back to that soon, because that has to do with other spells that we've unlocked here. Restoration spells. We have a higher level healing spell, which is Close Wound, and also Heal Other. We heal ourselves and our allies for more health per shot now. Horrid Wilting is quite effective as well. For 10 seconds, it inflicts 15 disease damage per second on non-mechanical targets. So that's also another nice one to just randomly cast at people who might be chasing us, or to kick off combat with. In fact, what I've been doing a little bit is charging up the oh, what's that called? Undermine in one hand, and charging up Horrid Wilting in the other, and then I'll cast, to open combat, I'll cast the Undermine on the most dangerous melee enemy that I can spot at the time, and then Horrid Wilting at whoever else is on the screen, just to kind of get a little bit more screen coverage and setting us up for success a little more, put us more in an advantaged position when we actually start spraying arrows around. I haven't been using Poison Rune a whole lot, but I figure it might lead to some interesting scenarios. If we're still in Sneak, we can lay down a Poison Rune and then charge up Undermine and Horrid Wilting, and get some people to run over Poison Rune after we hit them with Horrid Wilting or Undermined. Let's see. Repel Lesser Undead is available to us once we start fighting undead again, as druids will. Stendarr's Aura is also great in undead situations. Tree Rings we have also taken on. We've hooked that up to Okado's Recital as well. So that gives us some automatic healing after a few seconds when we enter combat, which is great. Adds to survivability as before. And we have some more Sunlight Explosion damage that we can cast sort of offensively against undead, and some more turn undead stuff. So some really useful stuff. Some of it is situational. Other stuff can be used all the time, hooked up to Okado's Recital. So as far as spell twine, I believe, geez, it's been so long now since I've set it. I think I set damage output, weapon damage output to Iron Flesh. So we get a little bit of a boost for a little bit whenever that kicks off in Okado's recital. And I've taken on some damage reduction from the tree rings, and I think I took on movement speed increased from the oh, what was that called? The Mystic Wind that gives us magic while we sprint. So yeah, I think that rounds out all of our magical abilities. I'll be looking for ways to use those a little bit more as we go. But for now, that's what we have. And I think that's everything that happened between chapters, between the end of Chapter 2 and the beginning of this one. It's been a few weeks. And Araelas is feeling a little better about himself at this point, so he's been hearing rumors that people here are being troubled by nightmares, and it seems to be affecting just about everybody, not specific people, so it seems like there's something foul afoot, I would say. And it's not our Harrier. Okay, so let's talk to the priest of Mara here to see what he has to say about it.
And what might you need?
So what's wrong with everyone around here? Everybody's complaining about nightmares. Thanks, Bjorn. All right, I see ya.
The entire town is being plagued by horrible nightmares. They're in serious danger, but I'm afraid there's little I can do about it.
So they're in serious danger from just dreams? But dreams aren't real, right?
These dreams are manifestations created by the Daedric Lord, Vermina. She has an awful hunger for our memories. In return, she leaves behind nightmares. Not unlike a cough marks a serious illness. I must end her terrible influence over these people before the damage becomes permanent.
Okay, so do you have a plan?
I need to return to the source of the problem, to Nightcaller Temple. Perhaps you'd be willing to assist me in that regard.
Yeah, sure, I can help out, but what do you mean return? You've been there before?
I've already said too much. If anyone overhears what we're saying, it could start a panic. I would simply ask that you trust me and help me end Dawnstar's nightmares.
It's a little crowded in here, huh? Okay, so we've mentioned before that Araelas has a pretty sensitive intuition about people as far as their light and dark intentions. And he's feeling that Erendur here is definitely looking to influence things for the better. He doesn't feel a darkness about him at all. He's only full of good intentions. So we trust him, and we're going to see how we can help.
Wonderful. My Lady Mara will be quite pleased. Nightcaller Temple is only a short walk from Dawnstar. Come, we must hurry.
Okay, so what can you tell me about Vermina first?
Vermina resides in a strange realm known as Quagmire, a nightmarish land where reality shifts upon itself in seemingly impossible ways. From her citadel at the center, she reaches forth to collect our memories, leaving nothing in return apart from visions of horror and despair.
And then what does she do with the memories when she has them?
Who can say? Perhaps she collects them for display like works of art in a nonsensical art gallery. Whatever the case may be, her intentions are far from benevolent. Stupid.
Fair enough. Okay, let's go see if we can do something about this.
To answer all of your questions. Follow me.
Alright, Araelas' claustrophobia is kicking in a little bit here, so we're going to meet Erendur outside.
Follow me. It's this way.
Bjorn over there freaking out about a new friend.
It feels good to finally have a chance to help these people. Helplessly watching them suffer has been difficult.
So yeah,
The tower on that hill is our destination. People around here call it the Tower of the Dawn. I'm not familiar with the tower's history, but it was deserted for quite a long time before Nightcaller Temple was established inside. When the temple was active, the priests would rarely be seen in Dawnstar. They preferred to live a solitary existence. The temple's been abandoned for decades now. Ironic, isn't it? A ruin within a ruin. There's a small shrine to Mara I established inside the tower's entry hall. I was hoping to seek spiritual guidance from her. Perhaps my prayers were answered. Your reason for stumbling across Dawnstar was more than a mere coincidence.
interesting. You can see why they call it Tower of the Dawn, seeing as it is east, almost directly east of the city, and the sun rises in the east, so it's probably quite the sight to see as the sun's coming up over that hill. So I think the theme for this episode is going to be a redemption from darkness. Araelas is still feeling pretty guilty about the things that he did. He's not loathing himself as much as he was before. It's not torturing him into crippling depression anymore. But he does feel the need to do something about it, to kind of correct his sort of mistakes and his dark behaviors from before. So he thinks that by sort of lifting Vermina's curse off of Dawnstar, that's a good step in the right direction. So he's going to go ahead and go out on a limb. He's going to trust this shady character, even though he feels... we won't stand between the wolf and his prey. We have a kinship with other hunters in the wild here. Alright, Bjorn. You're just wrecking the place here. I think he's playing around in the snow, actually. He's trying to romp around with the ice wolf there. Step in the right direction. So, even though Grelod was kind of a terrible person, and the 3 people that he killed in the abandoned shack for Astrid were probably deserving of it, from what we could tell, it still wasn't Araelas' call to make, and he did it for the wrong reasons. He did it because they were a target. He didn't do it because they were causing anybody any safety issues, except for maybe in the case of Grelod, where she was sort of crippling those kids' ability to grow into well-adjusted individuals. Fact is, it wasn't his call to make, and he murdered those people in cold blood, and he feels really bad for it, even if he didn't realize it at the time. He's feeling quite a bit of remorse, so he's pretty eager to do things like this for right now. Nightcaller Temple, so not the Tower of the Dawn, huh? Looks like it's seen better days for sure. Oh, and there's another bear friend. Maybe we can heal him up. Looks like he was fighting some ice wraiths out here. Sleep well, friend. All right.
Before we enter, I must warn you about the dangers that could be lurking within. Years ago, this temple was raided by an orc war party seeking revenge. They were being plagued by nightmares, just like the people of Dawnstar.
Were they successful?
No. Knowing they could never defeat the orcs, the priests of Vermina released what they called the miasma, putting everyone to sleep.
So why is it dangerous in there if everybody's asleep?
I'm concerned that when this place is unsealed, the miasma will dissipate, and they'll awaken. Both orcs and priests alike.
The miasma? What does that do?
The miasma was created by the priests of Vermina for their rituals. It's a gas that places the affected in a deep sleep. Because the rituals would last for months or even years, the miasma was designed to slow down the aging process.
Interesting. Is the gas dangerous?
Sadly, yes. The longer an individual is exposed to the miasma, the more the mind can become damaged. Those who've been under the effect of it for extended periods of time have been known to lose their minds entirely. In some cases, a few never awoke at all.
Interesting. So we should be okay as long as we keep it quick in there. But whoever's left in there, we can't expect them to be of sane mind. So they probably might attack us. Okay, well, let's go do it.
Once we get inside, all will become clear.
So it sounded like we're getting hungry and probably a little thirsty, so... It's very dark in here. Alright, so let's eat a snack. And whet our whistle a little bit. Okay, some saber cat and some mud crab legs, and that did the trick. Okay, so Araelas is feeling a bit of a
Give me just a moment.
familiar warmth and love emanating from this shrine here, so... Let's see what's in here first. We'll check that out later.
The source of the nightmares.
Ugh. Well, this
Behold
is...
the skull of corruption, the source of Dawnstar's woes. We must reach the inner sanctum and destroy it. Come, there's no time to lose.
Araelas is definitely getting the heebie-jeebies from this thing. Bad vibes for sure. Okay, here we go. Oh, don't want him swinging that thing. Look at that. Good lord.
Damn it! The priests must have activated this barrier when the miasma was released.
Looks like it could be difficult to breach.
Impossible, actually. I wonder. There may be a way to bypass the barrier, but I must check their library and confirm it can be done.
You seem to know an awful lot about this place.
I suppose there's no point in concealing the truth any longer. My knowledge of this temple comes from personal experience. I was a priest of Vermina.
I see. Why did you keep it from me?
When the orcs invaded the temple, I fled. I left my brothers and sisters here to die. I've spent the last few decades living in regret and seeking redemption from Mara. And by her benevolence, I will right my wrongs.
Okay, so this fits into Araelas's current, feeling of needing redemption from darkness. It sounds like Arender is in a very similar boat here, so they are two very kindred spirits. It sounds like they are definitely going to be easy allies here, so alright, I'm ready.
I'll still have my key to the library. Whenever you're ready, let's move on.
How is this skull affecting Dawnstar from all the way down here?
More holds that the skull of corruption holds a constant hunger for the memories of others. The skull has been out of touch for so long, I fear it's gained the ability to reach out on its own and try to feed. What it does with these memories is just conjecture, and an argument for scholars and historians to this very day.
Okay, well, let's get a move on.
The skull needs to be destroyed as soon as possible.
So another thing that I forgot to mention, actually, is that we're now using perfect bone arrows exclusively now. They are our strongest arrows that we can craft currently. And Araelas has done so much hunting in the meantime of mammoths and just other things from the Harrier that he's been able to craft a whole lot of bone arrows between chapters here. So we can kind of use them extremely liberally. And we'll take full advantage of that. We've actually been selling off our elven arrows. I don't need that in the hotkey menu anymore, so I can get rid of that, but that helps damage output as well.
It's just appeared. Be careful. We're certain to find more of the awakened within.
Here we go. What are we doing here, Arender? What are we looking for?
This library used to be filled with arcane volumes. Now look at it. Almost everything's been burned. I hope the tome we need is still intact.
Okay, I see movement.
Someone there?
I think I have a anti-electricity. Oh, did I just die? No, I got injured. Okay. Help me out here, Bjorn. Oh, they zapped all my magicka. Okay. Luckily, Close Wounds does a lot better job than what we were previously using. There we go.
Barring any more interruptions, perhaps we can locate the information I need.
Okay, what is it we're looking for?
We're looking for a book of alchemical recipes called the Dream Straw. The tome bears the likeness of Vermina on the cover. It should be here somewhere.
Okay, we'll take a look.
If you'll check the shelves around the balcony, I'll check around the lower level.
Okay, so we're heading back upstairs here to see what we can find. Both myself and Bjorn may need a bit of a pick-me-up. Okay. Oh, and before we go any farther, let's go ahead and do a quick save here. We almost died that time. That electricity magic is really tough. Okay, what do we have here? Yeah, just a common book. I'm guessing a book of that importance is going to be on a pedestal like this, so that's kind of what we're looking for here. Excuse me, Bjorn. Yeah. Another fairly common book there. Okay, this looks promising. This one's fatter. And there's Vermina right there on the front. I believe this is the one we're looking for. We're not going to take the time to read it right now, but we will definitely take this to Arendur so that he can do what he needs to do with it. There he is.
Yes, my son. What is it I can help with?
I found the Dream Stride.
Let me take a look. Mara be praised. There is a way past the barrier to the inner sanctum. It involves a recipe for a liquid known as Vermina's torpor.
Is that some type of potion?
Yes. The torpor grants an ability the priests of Vermina called the Dream Stride, using dreams to travel distances in the real world.
That's pretty impressive.
Quite amazing, yes. Alchemy and the blessings of a divine, distilled down into a ingestible liquid. Sadly, I have yet to see it function in person.
So I'm going to be your guinea pig, huh?
As a sworn priest of Mara, the elixir won't work for me. The torpor will only work for priests of Vermina, or the unaffiliated.
I don't know that Araelas is completely unaffiliated because of his dealings with Kine. So he's a little skeptical about this. How can you be certain that this is going to work and not completely destroy me?
I will not lie to you. There is some risk involved. The last time the torpor was embarked could have been decades ago. But I swear upon Lady Mara that I will do everything within my power to prevent any harm from befalling you.
Okay, well, I believe you. I just don't know that you're going to have that capability. I guess it's worth the risk. So do you know where this torpor is?
All believe there is a laboratory in the East Wing. If we proceed there, we should be able to locate a sample.
Okay.
The laboratory adjoins the library. I'm hoping we'll find a sample of the torpor left undamaged.
Nice route, Magellan. Oh, jeez. I think Bjorn is jacking up his nav mesh here. Sometimes I feel like things would be easier without Bjorn, but that makes me just really sad. He did save our life after all. Alright, here we go. Can't get a shot. There we go. Oh boy, here we go. I don't know how I managed to miss that guy twice. Okay. Alright, we need to do something drastic here. Let's take one of these potions. And we definitely need to heal up. Okay. Oh, that big oaf.
Now that they've been dealt with, we need to find the torpor.
Okay, how will I know what it looks like?
It should be in a small bottle, very similar to a potion. I'll begin searching up here. The torpor should be in a tall bottle with dark liquid. If you find it, bring it to me.
And a quick save. It's just a wine bottle. Common potions. Oh, we'll take our arrow back. Nothing there. Troll fat we can use. The data hearts we're going to take because we can use them later. I don't know that Araelas has any reason for taking them right now, but we might be able to smith up some Daedric stuff with them later on. And he does know that these giant toes are valuable from his giant bounties. Fire salts we're going to be able to use shortly, I believe. So we'll take those. I think there was actually some salts over here too. There we go. Okay, let's see. What else do we have? Ah, this is probably it right here. There's a certain consistency to it that we haven't seen before. Okay, I think I found it.
Yes, my son. What is it I can help with?
But before I take this, I have some sensitive dietary needs. Do you know if this is gluten-free?
You'll be viewing the memory of another through your own eyes and with your own body. Those around you will perceive you as normal, and you will find the words you utter may not be your own. Thanks to all of these odd principles, there is quite a lot of debate as to whether this is really a dream or just the machinations of Vermina.
Interesting. So, how am I going to awaken from this dream stride?
I will watch over you as you slumber to ensure your safety. If I deduce anything is amiss, I will use my arms to bring you back. Otherwise, I am uncertain what will end your dream stride. Perhaps when Vermina's curious appetite has been filled.
Alright. So, I have the torpor. What do we do now?
I'm relieved you discovered a bottle intact. This place looks as though it was ransacked by the orcs. So, I've taken us this far, but you need to guide us the rest of the way. Drink.
Right here? Right now?
Dawnstar's fate rests in that tiny bottle. The longer we wait, the more damage Vermina could be doing to those poor people.
Oh.
I understand your hesitation, but I promise you that it works.
Right.
Let's continue.
Okay, so Araelas isn't only hesitant of this because of his affiliation with Kyne, at least partial affiliation with Kyne, and what that might entail. Erender did say that it won't work on the initiated. I think that we are initiated with Kyne right now. Or affiliated, that is. But we're not sure that Kyne has the same rivalry with Vermina that Mara does. Probably not. In his current state of mind, that is a risk he's willing to take as a shot at redemption, just as Erender is doing all this for redemption as well. The other thing that Araelas is just a bit hung up on is the whole green pack thing. He's not sure what makes up this torpor. Is there any plant material in here? Is there not? I mean, we've been pretty good through the alchemical and food front of not eating anything plant-based. But we have been using firewood for all of our arrows this whole time, and our bow and things like that, so there's no other way around it. I think in this frame of mind, Araelas would be okay risking a bit of a bend in the Green Pact for this. And the Green Pact is not something that he was ever formally introduced to anyway. It's just been kind of a feeling that he doesn't want to cause harm to any plants. So he was a little concerned about that, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a risk that he should probably take. So, bottoms up.
The orcs have breached the inner sanctum, Brother Baron.
We must hold. We can't allow the skull to fall into their hands.
No more than a handful of us remain, brother.
Then we have no choice. The miasma must be released.
The miasma? But brother...
We have no alternative. It's the will of their leader. And what about you, Brother Casimir? Are you prepared to serve the will of Vermina?
So this is what Arendir was talking about. Araelas is just kind of along for the ride right now. He's not really controlling anything. These aren't his own words, but this is what he's seeing. I've made my peace. I'm ready.
Then it's decided. Brother Casimir, you must activate the barrier and release the miasma. Let nothing stop you. Brother Thorin, we must remain here.
Brother
to guard the
Casimir.
skull with our lives if necessary.
Agreed to the death.
Then let it be done.
Okay.
Farewell,
Quite a battle going on here. Oh boy. Okay, this appears to be the source of these force fields. Let's... Can I grab it? Here we go. Oh, Bjorn, good to see you, friend. Bunch of naked orcs.
It worked. Mara be praised. You vanished after drinking the torpor and materialized on the other side. I've never seen anything quite like it.
It was quite remarkable. It's like I was actually there.
How I envy you. I can only imagine the excitement of seeing history through the eyes of another. Sadly, I am resigned to just reading of its wonders through my research of the skull.
It sounds fascinating, but we have some work to do.
Indeed. My reverence for Vermina's machinations should not take precedence over our mission. My apologies. The inner sanctum lies ahead. We must reach the skull and put an end to Dawnstar's troubles. Lead on, my friend.
Okay, so I'm taking point now, I suppose.
We must get to the skull and destroy it.
Do a quick save just in case I get killed. This guy seems tough. There's another one of those huge hammers. I think he had that ward up. Yeah, he was tough. Anybody in here?
What are you looking at? Victory is yours. I submit.
Wait. Ben, Thorin, you're alive. No thanks to you, Casimir.
Casimir?
I no longer use that name. I'm Miranda, priest of Mara. You're a traitor. You left us to die and then ran before the miasma took you.
No, I was scared. I wasn't ready to sleep. Enough of your lies.
I can't allow you to destroy the skull, priest of Mara.
Then you leave me no choice.
Here we go. These guys are tough, huh? He's looking like a pincushion. Oh boy. Alright.
I knew Varen and Thoric. They were my friends. Is this punishment for my past? Is it Mara's will to torment me so?
Look, if you think about it, we really had no choice. They were obviously not going down without a fight, and we have to get to the skull.
Yes, you're right. If they needed to die so that Dawnstar could live, then it was worth the price. It's time. The skull must be destroyed.
If you'll stand back, I'll perform the ritual granted to me by Lady Mara.
First, an incantation to remove the barrier.
Araelas does feel quite a disturbingly dark presence coming from this thing.
I call upon you, Lady Mara. The skull hungers.
Give him
It
some
yearns
room.
for memories and leaves nightmares in its wake. Grant me the power to break through this barrier, to send the skull to the depths of oblivion.
He's deceiving you.
Oh,
When the ritual's complete, the skull will be free, and then Arender will turn on you. Quickly, kill him now. Kill him and claim the skull for your own. Vermina commands you.
ah! Some technical difficulties there. Sort of ruined a dramatic moment, but yeah. It's been a long episode. I'm not going back now. Okay, so Araelas feels the dark presence dissipate. Oh, man. Okay, so Araelas felt the darkness welling up within him again. It looked like Vermina was trying to bring that darkness up to the surface and try to get Araelas to sort of preserve her her connection to this world by keeping Erendur from destroying it.
Forgive me if I don't appear relieved. This temple has taken its toll on me.
Are you going to be all right?
In time, I believe I will. I'd constructed a meager shrine to Mara in the antechamber where we entered. My intention was to spend the rest of my years here, burying the past and praying for forgiveness. But instead, I wish to offer my services to you. If you ever wish to journey with me, I'll be here.
I may just take you up on that offer sometime. Something tells me there will be no shortage of opportunities at redemption in this world. So, thank you.
There's no need to thank me. What you did was for the people of Dawnstar. If anyone should be thanked, it should be you.
So, as we saw, Araelas almost did succumb to Vermina's influence. He was able to pull his shot away at the last second, and he was able to enter a state of meditation, in which he was able to concentrate on blocking Vermina's influence and sort of the darkness inside of him welling up. So this is good. He was not able to prevent that darkness from telling him to kill Grelod or the three people in the abandoned shack. But he was able to resist it this time against a much more powerful influence. So I think this is looking good for Araelas. I think at this point, all that's left is to go through and loot everything, find everything of value, sell it off. So I'm going to cut the video here, and I will see you back at camp. Okay, so here we are back at Windward Ruins, back at the site of the collapse. Araelas has been using this as a campsite since he's been in Dawnstar. He can still feel kind of remnant warmth from Kine here. And it offers a little bit of protection from the elements in the walls here, but the ceiling is open, the air is open, so he doesn't feel the claustrophobia of being in an inn or an enclosed space, and yet he can still kind of stay warm to a certain extent. So we're going to go ahead and set up camp here. We're going to level up, and we'll probably sleep for the night. It's late enough, we just have to wait for a few hours. And then we'll talk about where we're going to go after this. Alright, Bjorn, you don't need to be right there. Right on top of the campfire. Okay, so we're going to need to gather some wood. That'll get us started. And we'll need a few more pieces of wood to turn this into a roaring fire. Oh, more than enough now. Alright. Go ahead and cook up that Horker loaf. See what else we might have in here that we can cook up. Nothing, it looks like. Okay. So let's have a seat and see what we can do with this perk. Excuse me, Bjorn. Okay, and where are we at? Level 32. That is going to be back at stamina. Okay, so I have a pretty firm idea on what I want to do with this, and that is the trick arrows. That's one of the coolest perks of the archery tree in Ordinator, and I'm really looking forward to taking that and experimenting with the different types of arrows that we can craft and how it changes our gameplay up a little bit. So that's something that's probably number one on my priority list right now. But I have been putting some stuff into restoration, just kind of to mark the sort of resurgence of Araelas' light side here, and I would like to take respite so that I can recover stamina as well as health whenever I heal, so that I can continue to use dodge rolls effectively. Warrior's Flame is also a big one that I want to get as well. I'll probably save this for the next level. But I think that this is a very druidy type, or druidic type of perk. It's kind of like a blessing. Well, it definitely is a blessing. Friendly targets are blessed, restoring magic and stamina for 5 seconds, including you. And hostile targets are nerfed. They're cursed. So I think that is a good way to represent the spirits of nature kind of helping us out and hindering our enemies. So that's pretty cool. And that also unlocks Sacred Flame, which adds healing to the Warrior's Flame effect. So that, I think, will be a big part of this character, but I think Araelas is an archer first and foremost, so I'm definitely going to take this trick arrow perk, I believe. The next one that I'm looking, or actually the next two that I'm looking most forward to are Hunt Together, which has sort of like a spirit animal that joins us when we hit people with our bow. And Lion's Arrow, which is the one I'm looking forward to most, allows you to store a dual casted spell to be released at certain intervals while you're firing your arrows. So that should be fun. But trick arrows should also be fun, so I'm really looking forward to that. We'll probably explore that a little bit in the next episode, because I think I'm going to cut this one right about here. But I want to talk about what is on the horizon. So we've pretty much tapped out the northern areas here. Araelas has done enough suffering at the hands of this snow and this icy wind. He's ready to feel better. So I think we're going to head down to Whiterun and try to find Ayla and see if we can find her friends that Froki was saying would probably be like-minded. So we'll try to hook up with that group, see what they have to offer. We'll probably spend a day or two in Whiterun, just getting the lay of the land, doing some jobs, and just whatever else we find there that might be fun. And then we'll make our way west from there to take on the Guardian Mudcrab, which is our second target in obtaining the Token of Kine for Froki. So yeah, I think I think this is a pretty big change for us and for Araelas. This is a big enough turn to mark a new chapter, I think. And I'm actually really excited to kind of explore the more druidic side of Araelas' nature for a little bit. He's been really dark for a long time, doing some pretty dark things. Oh, that's the glass arrow on his back there, or glass bow. It was a magical bow that we found in Darklight, or not Darklight Tower. Whatever that last place was called. What was that? Nightcaller Temple. Right. I was trying it out. Its draw speed is still way too slow for this play style. It would have been a nice little magical bow though, for sure. So, but we're gonna stick with the Valenwood bow, maybe for this entire playthrough. I don't know. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and sleep here. We're going to pack up camp, and we're going to move it down to Whiterun and see if we can find Froki's protege, Aela, out here in Whiterun. Apparently she's quite the archer. We might be able to learn some things from her. Kind of putz around the city for a few days, and then take on the Guardian Mudcrab when we get a chance. Okay, so I think that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining me for the kickoff of Chapter 3. As this character gets a little higher up there in level and a little fleshed out as far as the skills and perks that we can take and the magic that he can unlock and cast, I think it's getting closer and closer to the vision that I had for this character when I started, and that's always an exciting thing. So yeah, I hope you'll join me on this journey, and I will see you next time in warmer climates and warmer times ahead for Araelas. Alright, see you later.